Highlighting new expectations, Gulf Travel Show brings an insightful panel discussion moderated by CEO of Al Nabuda Travel.
Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, welcome to today's webinar. The topic of the webinar is reconnecting with the region and what to expect now. This webinar is a part of Gulf Travel Show hosted by TravelTalk. TravelTalk, one of the largest travel magazine in Middle East, is hosting the first ever virtual exhibition, the Gulf Travel Show. This event is a part of the Gulf Travel Show. This webinar is a part of the Gulf Travel Show. And this event will connect 40 sellers from the Middle East with buyers from across the globe. In this regard, I would like to welcome and thank the three participants from different industries within UAE. First of all, I would like to introduce Ms. Neena Gupte. She is the head of administration at Al Tamimi and Company. Al Tamimi and Company has 17 offices across 9 countries. It is a full-service commercial firm combining knowledge, experience, and expertise to ensure their clients have access to the best legal solutions that are commercially sound and cost-effective. Neena Gupte has been with Al Tamimi and Company since November 2002, which is a very long tenure, and is working as head of administration, as I said, since 2015. She's hands-on and collaborative manager with proven experience in contracts, negotiations, budgeting, training, and mentoring. Instrumental in strategic planning, creating health and safety policies and procedures, as well as business continuity plans for the company. And next to Ms. Neena, we have Mr. Khalid Al-Idrisi, our second participant, second panelist. He is the Regional Director of Sales, Middle East and Africa at Four Seasons Hotels. Four Seasons Hotels Limited, trading as Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts, is an international luxury hotel and resort company headquartered in Toronto, Canada. Four Seasons operates 118 hotels and resorts worldwide. As a dynamic, creative, and result-oriented professional, Khalid has dedicated his career to driving results, analyzing customer needs, developing appropriate solutions, and improving the service experience. The Middle East is the region where he has invested majority of his 21 years career. Khalid brings forth tremendous knowledge and experience in the GCC market and many areas of exposure to the business environment in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Trinidad, Tobago, and Canada. Khalid is a very, very long introduction. I will leave some additional information to be shared by Khalid. The third panelist that we have with us today is Ms. Siobhan Naughton, Trade Executive and Tourism Ireland. Tourism Ireland is responsible for marketing the island of Ireland overseas as a leading holiday destination. Siobhan has worked for Tourism Ireland in their Asia Hub office in Dubai for the last 5 years. For the last 3 years, Siobhan has taken on the role of Trade Executive for Tourism Ireland in GCC. Prior to working for Tourism Ireland, Siobhan worked for Fairlet Island on the early days of the Wild Atlantic Way project. Siobhan also has a very, very long introduction due to her areas of responsibilities and her achievements. I will leave the rest for Siobhan to elaborate us on that. So I would like to request Ms. Neena, if you would like to add any more into the introduction that I shared with you today. Ms. Nina.
Thank you, Nasser. I think your introduction has been kind enough, and I'm good to go.
All right, thank you very much. May I ask Khaled, would you like to add to your introduction?
Thank you very much, Nasser. I think you've pretty much covered all the points there. Appreciate the kind introduction. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Shibon, would you like to add something?
Similar to everybody else, I think you covered it off really nicely, Nasser. So thanks a million for that lovely introduction.
Perfect. So before we start our question and answer session, I'd just like to share some of my views, and for the sake of people who will be watching this, I would like to introduce myself as I am Nasser Jamal Khan. I am the CEO of Al Nabuda Travel and Tourism. I have been in the industry for the past 37 years, and it looks like that I have been doing a reasonable job. That's why I'm still in this industry, and I'm proud to be a travel agent. So before we start, let me please share some of my opinions. So I would like to highlight some of the facts and figures recently shared by one of our very senior colleague and friend from the industry, Mr. Sanjeev, who is the founder and managing director of DDP Group. He's also the CEO of Buzz Travel Marketing. Over the past decade, GCC transformed into a global hub with expected number of almost 195 million tourists by 2030, and also the largest outbound market from GCC. So in 2018, 69 billion US dollars were spent by the GCC tourists worldwide. So this was the size of the market last year and the year before. And the expectations were growing. The forecast was very, very high, whether it was a traffic related to tourism, corporate travel, family reunion, and any related other travel from GCC. However, due to COVID, the whole situation is changed. We all know, I won't elaborate on that. We all know what are the challenges that we are facing. However, we also know that UAE government authorities has been working effectively and efficiently, and things are very well under control within UAE. We are proud for that. We are proud of that. So UAE is one of the first countries to be declared as the safest country to travel. And again, we are proud of that. The travel market is slowly and gradually regaining the confidence. Staycation has been a great success during the last few months. The number of inbound tourists to the UAE has considerably increased in the past couple of months. So this is again a very positive sign. So most of the people are ready to travel. I'm talking about from within GCC. There were certain surveys conducted in Saudi Arabia, in UAE, and other parts of GCC. And what we were proud and we were very happy to see and hear that 70 to 80% people are absolutely ready to travel. So we are all waiting for the borders to open and more clarity on COVID-related precautions, if I may say. We all know that at the moment there is a second wave in Europe. However, the travel has not stopped. At present, if you see, most of the, I would like to say Maldives and Seychelles are enjoying the highest number of tourists from GCC. Plenty of passengers. The flights are full to these two destinations. The reasons are there are no less or negligible COVID threats over there. It's an open area. These are resorts, less population, less pollution, and very, very easy processing of airport immigrations and COVID-related restrictions. At the same time, what we are seeing, for example, there are new destinations coming up. People are gearing up to those destinations. And I would like to start mentioning Ireland, for example. Ireland is one of the top destinations at the moment. And I'm sure Siobhan will highlight why is that. Being a travel agent, I can also share my views. Africa, for example, Rwanda is one of the first countries to be declared as safest countries to travel. So people are making plans to travel to Rwanda. Philippines. The Philippines were never discussed before as a touristic destinations, but they have lots to offer, and they have created a lot of awareness in the market. So Philippines is another destination which is coming up, and a lot of people are planning to book holidays to Philippines in addition to the other destinations. The question is, how do we see the future? How do we see what is coming up? How do we create a positive vibe? How do we face the facts? What makes us safe and sound if we wish to travel? And how do we manage the challenges that we are facing and our clients are facing? So this is what we will discuss in brief and with my panelists. And thank you very much for listening to me. Before I ask any questions, anybody wants to add any comments here? Siobhan, you have any comments?
I suppose just to highlight what you're saying, Ireland is definitely an up and coming destination, and we're looking forward to welcoming people back to our shores when the time is right. You know, we've always been a destination that is full of wide open spaces, greenery, landscapes, you know, so it's never been a congested destination. So I think it'll be a really fantastic destination for people to explore when everything opens up again. So I definitely think it's a bucket list destination for everyone and should definitely be considered when the time is right.
Perfect. Thank you. Nina, if I may ask you the first question. We understand the general market feeling is that the corporate market, corporate travel will take a little more time to get back to normal as compared to the leisure travel, the holidays, inbound and outbound tourism. So this is one thing that we need to understand from your perspective as a corporate company for the travel agencies. So how do you see that, and how do you reconnect with your partners after many hurdles over the past few months?
So as you mentioned earlier, we have about 17 offices and close to about 80 partners and heads of offices. And to be fair, initially it was challenging. However, thanks to the advanced technology and dedicated support from within our IT team, in-house IT team, we adapted to the transformation actually quite seamlessly. We, prior to the pandemic, we already had in place the VDI system, which is the virtual desktop infrastructure. And as a result, that significantly helped us with working remotely. And of course, the platforms like Zoom and Skype for Business, those assisted us with the communication and keeping up with the communication and keeping up with the collaboration with the partners. So it has been challenging, but it's the change. We've kind of transformed or rather adapted to the transformation quite easily in a way as a corporate.
Very good. Excellent. It's a very positive information, and we like to hear such positive moves made by the corporate companies. So Nina, may I ask that, I know that, and thanks to technology, I think most of us have been working remotely during the past few months, and thanks to Zoom and Teams. As of now, do you see that the corporate travel, the business travel is picking up?
I don't see it picking up much at the moment, though we've had a few people who have had some outbound travel and inbound travel within the company. However, we are, as a company, not encouraging it at the with regard to business travel. We are encouraging relying more on virtual platforms. Even though the safety guidelines are already in place and everybody is constantly aware of it, constantly reminded of it, but no, I don't see that happening much at the moment.
Right. So just one more question for you, and then I move forward. For the time being, what, from the corporate point of view, what do you think will bring the confidence and make you feel comfortable, and your employees in the company to start traveling again? What is it that will bring that confidence and courage for traveling again?
So the pandemic has actually affected people at varied degrees. And some people are more conservative with their behavior, whereas some of the others are kind of back to business responsibly. And like I mentioned, in our office, some of the partners have actually traveled abroad to Europe specifically, and some have actually done inbound travel. I think it's more an individual psych than anything else. Of course, I mean, things like the vaccine coming in future, psychologically, people might be more prone to travel, or might want to take more risks because there's a vaccine and that kind of stuff. But as such, for corporate, it is more an individual than anything else, I would say.
All right. Thank you very much, Nina, for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you.
And I'll come back to you with couple of more questions. Khaled, if I may ask you a similar question now. Nina spoke from a corporate point of view. From your industry point of view, how do you reconnect with the partners after many hurdles? I'm repeating the same question.
Sure. I think technology has become pivotal. This has been a big learning curve for a number of people, but I think others may have been more savvy at it. But we see a lot of more confidence in the use of technology now. As we progress through the months now of this pandemic, I think there is a matter for fatigue to be brought forward, and where people are not as open to be behind virtual technologies as they were at the beginning of the pandemic, because human interaction is key to how we connect, and it's hard to separate that completely. So I think there has to be creative elements that have to happen following just the Zoom or the Teams or the technologies that we have now, in which to engage with our partners. And something that we've looked at with Four Seasons, and how we creatively approach that with such platforms such as the Middle East Virtual Roadshow that we're launching in December of this year, which really is an engagement point that is meant to be in a very different approach than we had done in the previous months. So I think maintaining that relevance to our client base and keeping them engaged is quite important. I think too nowadays, and I think Nina touched on this. I think the psychological safety element for people is very different, and how they are want to interact is very different. So we have some clients who are very open to start meeting now, as with Dubai is very open, and we have that ability to do so, and some that are not at that stage in regards to their sense. So this is an added layer to that too, because we then really have to decipher which of our partners are more comfortable to engage in different ways. And that empathy training, the ability for us to do so, has been something that we've done on property level. We've done it with our sales teams to really look for those cues and understanding about how we are able to approach our client base, which becomes quite an important factor.
Thank you, Khaled. My second question for you, Khaled, is what will be the expectations for the Q1 2021?
Wow.
Difficult question.
I mean, failing to have a crystal ball in hand, to be honest, and we are all looking at various business scenarios and working through which one fits the moment that we are in as we go through it. What we have to look and what we are looking towards is what is a sustainable approach that will take us not just into the short to medium term, but really as this pandemic continues to be with us. And I believe this will be with us for at least the next year in terms of significant impact for the industry, in terms of our hotels. With that in mind, then that really has to be a complete supply chain understanding. If we look at the airline industry and their reports from IATA and looking at some of their figures, where they are now looking at a 45% level of inbound and outbound traffic for the GCC region based on 2019 figures. That's quite a significant indicator to what our level of business is going to be as hotels, because we're very much tied to that. Putting the short-term approach of domestic travel, that's not something that is going to sustain us as a business, not in the economies of scale that we look for in our business models for a very long time. So as we operate to ensure that we are supporting the industry right now, and as we reopen all of our properties, and currently we've reopened 95 out of 118 properties on a global scale. That has been the message that we've been trying to put forth as Four Seasons Hotel and Resorts. But our expectations are also realistic, and I think we need to be to set that level for our stakeholders across the board, either be it our ownerships, either be it our colleagues, our staff, and what that expectation should be in the years to come. And honestly, I think we have to be realistic. We have to speak with each other and with transparency. That's going to be the most honest conversations are the ones that will bring us out of this.
Thank you, Khaled. Opening 95 out of 118 properties around the world, it's a very positive move and a very positive message to the travel industry. And yes, 45% expectation compared to 2019 in 2021 is again a very positive number. In my personal opinion, as I think Nina mentioned a while ago, she mentioned the vaccine, she mentioned the cure. Looking at this part, I personally believe that as soon as the vaccine is available, and hopefully that soon, I believe that I'll give it maximum of 2 or 3 months, and we will go back to 2019 and even higher numbers. This is my personal opinion. However, since you have opened 95 properties, which is, as I said, it's an excellent move. Could you please share with us that after opening all these properties, are the travelers confident to travel? Uh, in a scale of 1 to 10, what would you recommend or what do you see?
I think confidence is very different to the clients, their profile, their age groups. Traditionally speaking, I think the younger clients have more confidence to travel than older clients, perhaps. We have to look at multi-generational travel that's very different and may come to be very different next year. Length of stays will change. But I think overall, I think the confidence right now is quite low, and it's not quite low because of the pandemic itself. I think it's quite low because I believe that people are seeing the level of quarantine, the level of government restrictions, the level of exit and re-entry into countries, and measuring this and saying, is it really going to be something that I want to go through this year, next year, in the next few months? Do I make decisions now? Traditionally, our region makes decisions 12 to 15 days before trips. That's the model here. We don't have long lead business that come into place in our industry from here. So when decisions do happen, I think they can happen fast, but I think we have to be aware as we gear our marketing teams, as we gear our digital campaigns, is let's not go back to the same exact approach we had pre-pandemic. This marketplace is changed and is changing and is going to continue to change. So how we approach it in the next year, I think, is going to be quite important from our end, and how we look at it needs to be completely revamped.
Very well said, Khaled. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I totally agree with you. Yes, more than the pandemic, the people are reluctant to travel due to the formalities and restrictions in place. That leaves us saying that those destinations where, as I mentioned earlier, where there are less restrictions and they are more open, I think they are benefiting right now. As I mentioned, for example, Seychelles and Maldives as well. So I think people will not stop traveling. They will continue to travel for holidays, for short breaks, and so on. And they will travel to such destinations. I also believe people will pick on short-haul destinations. People will avoid indirect flights as well, to have lesser exposure in terms of going through two different airports, and to avoid any exposure more than it's a must, for example. So thank you very much, Khaled, again.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So, Shibon, let me ask you, please, what is the situation with travel to Ireland currently? Is it, because why I ask this question, Shibon, people are approaching us, asking us for the packages to Ireland. People are willing to travel. At the same time, we have the tour operators and the hoteliers back in Ireland. We see them very, very active and very confident, and they never stopped coordinating, never stopped updating us and sharing information with us and looking forward for the business. In terms of, I know we all know the situation in Europe. There are new restrictions or revised restrictions in place. However, how do you see, what is the situation with travel to Ireland currently?
So at the moment, unfortunately, we're in a national lockdown until very early December. That could be extended potentially, we just don't know. And you're still required to quarantine for 14 days when you enter the country. But as Khaled said, we don't have a crystal ball, so we can't decide when, or we can't like just predict when it won't open. So we're just trying to get ourselves ready for when Ireland does open again. So our government have been giving us major support, along with our colleagues in Fault Ireland and Tourism Northern Ireland, just to prepare the Irish industry for when people can travel to Ireland again. We're extremely optimistic. Obviously, we hope it'll be as soon as possible. But our current stance is that we are just preparing our industry and just preparing the country to welcome everybody when the time is right.
Thank you, Siobhan. I believe once it opens, one of my concerns is the outlet mall in Ireland. Are they still open, or they are also closed at the moment?
They're closed at the moment, but I'm sure when you come to visit Nasser, it'll be open. Don't worry, and they'll welcome you with open arms.
I must share that one of the best outlet malls that I know is in Ireland, and if one has to do some a really fantastic shopping, then we must visit Ireland. So thank you very much, Siobhan, once again. So my next question to you, Siobhan, is prior to the pandemic, Ireland had been growing in popularity as a tourism destination, and I'm a witness to that. For people from the GCC, what do you attribute this to? What happened? It was like a boom from GCC to Ireland.
Yeah, I think one of the main factors was Ireland became visa-free for UAE nationals at the end of January 2018. So this obviously was a barrier to entry previously. So now the fact that it was open and visa-free for for UAE nationals was a major factor. Also, we have the short stay visa waiver scheme for other countries in the GCC, whereby if they have a Class C visit visa and they enter the UK first and get their visa stamped there first, they don't need to apply for a separate visa to Ireland. And a lot of people from this part of the world tend to do dual destination anyway. So going to the UK and then traveling on to Ireland is a very nice option. We're also really fortunate to have lots of direct access. As you mentioned, we had Emirates, Etihad, Qatar Airways all flying direct to Ireland on a daily basis. And then also, I think something that people mightn't be as aware of is that a lot of GCC nationals study in Ireland. Predominantly it would be medicine, but they tend to fall in love with the country. Their family and friends come to visit, and then they also fall in love with the country. And some of them even end up staying, and they have an affiliation. And I also think that people in Ireland, and anyone who's come to visit Ireland, will realize people are extremely friendly, and they almost feel like it's a second home. So I think once they come once, they just really want to return again and just visit more and more and just meet more people and see more of our beautiful country. So yeah, we're doing really well, and we will do well again once everything opens up. We're really confident that Ireland is, a really attractive destination post-COVID. Like I say, we're full of wide open spaces. We've beautiful castle properties that people can hire out exclusively, more modern properties, quirky properties. People can get a private jets into Ireland, different things like that, but they still have the direct access. And just, explore beautiful landscape and scenery in a place that is just full of fresh air and breathtaking scenery.
Thank you very much, Siobhan. You have explained it so well. I feel like booking my flight right now to go to Ireland, and I will wait for the lockdown to be over. If I may ask, Siobhan, now we spoke about outbound travel from here to Ireland and maybe other European countries. What would you like to give me just a brief comment on the outbound travel from Ireland to UAE?
Yeah, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, all of the different destinations, Qatar, they're actually really popular with the Irish, with people in Ireland. It's obviously, it works really well because the seasons are very, when it's your winter, when it's your winter and your temperatures are lower, it's obviously our winter, but our temperatures are like at 1 degree. So people like to come out and get some really nice, winter sun out here in Dubai. There's a massive expat community of Irish people living out here. So a lot of people would actually be coming out visiting friends and family. They enjoy their sports. So obviously Dubai has, brilliant golf tournaments as well at that time of year when it suits the Irish people, when the climate is nice out here, they like to come out to the Gulf and experience that. And I think just the warm welcome that there is in the GCC in general, people from Ireland just really love it. And they love that experience. So people love to travel out here from Ireland. So it's definitely a very popular destination. And that time of year, it's literally the most popular destination, because people in the summer would tend to go to more short haul like Spain and Portugal and France. But then for winter sun, Dubai is always top of the list, and Abu Dhabi and Qatar and everywhere. So like they love coming out to the GCC to visit.
Thank you. Glad to hear this, and we all know Dubai and UAE is open for inbound tourism, and as I mentioned earlier, the number of inbound tourists is considerably increasing day by day, and we are open to receive guests from Ireland and from the rest of the world. Thank you, Siobhan, once again, and if I can ask one more question to Nina. Nina, I think you already gave me an answer for this question. I wanted to ask you the same question I asked Khaled. Are the travelers confident to travel in a scale of 1 to 10? You briefed me on that, and we fully understand the corporate travel sensitivity, the restrictions and the policies and procedures in place, and technology helping in terms of conducting meetings and conferences. So let me ask you another question, which is a general question. We all know that locals and expats both travel, living in GCC. It's a habit of the GCC nationals. They travel almost at least four times a year on an average. Now, the expats who are in a capacity to travel, they also adopted this habit, because I personally believe GCC and especially UAE is the gateway to the world. People who come and reside here and work here, they have the capacity to travel. So the expats also, they adopted the same habit of traveling at least 3 to 4 times as well. So this year they couldn't make it. Do you feel that the next year they would increase their travel plans? I know the psychology part there, but at least you understand from your colleagues and around you, what are the feelings of people? Do they still plan to travel with this frequency, reduced frequency, or at least there is a wish to travel this much?
So travel in 2021 is definitely going to be more than what materialized in 2020. Yes, there are a lot of people who are very keen to get out and travel, not just to their home countries, but also for holidays in general. And however, the increase in personal travel will be impacted by the restrictions implemented by the destinations. Like you people have already mentioned, every destination, if, for example, I were to travel across to the UK or Ireland for that matter right now, if I have to self-isolate for 14 days, it just does not make sense. And so the moment the countries open up with their tourism, travel is going to increase for sure.
That's a very positive input. Thank you so much. And I will keep repeating, there is lockdown in many countries, but Dubai is open, UAE is open. So we want to convey this message around the world. Please, if you follow the rules and regulations over here, safest destination to arrive and enjoy yourself, especially in the coming months. Thank you, Nina. Khaled, another question for yourself. I just mentioned, I gave my opinion about inbound. What is your opinion? How is the growth, you see growth for inbound tourism to Dubai or to UAE?
I think Dubai has done a wonderful job of promoting itself. across key markets. They understood that the short to medium haul was going to be their key focus in the upcoming 6 months to a year. They've really gone out on a digital campaign that has been quite impressive in one, instilling confidence in people to make the decision to come to Dubai. And I think that confidence really comes from the safety practices that have been communicated as taking place either in the airport facilities on arrival in Dubai, and even on the hotel level. I mean, as Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts, for example, very early on, we launched a program called Lead with Care. And Lead with Care is in collaboration with and consultancy with Johns Hopkins Medicine in the US. And we're still working with them through a number of our committee to put through a program of safety, security, enhanced cleanliness within the properties that we operate. I think more clients now, more than ever, are attracted to come to brand because of this safety aspect, and this we hear over and over again now, just because there is a trust element in there. But overall, I think the markets they're starting to show some traction here, other than the domestic. The CIS marketplace has been very strong in the UAE, especially. Since August, September, we've seen a very large influx from the CIS market. The GCC is still yet to come to fruition the right way, but I think the opening up of Saudi, now officially announced in January, is going to help that. It's going to open up for further travel into Dubai from the various. But in reality, I think the travel that's upcoming is mostly going to be medium haul. Long haul is going to be more restricted as people make much more difficult decisions to travel and make stopovers in various destinations, or to travel on a trip that they're going to have a multi-destination trip on. Those are going to be reduced in terms of what people make decisions towards.
Thank you, Khaled. Actually, you have added and answered some other questions that I wanted to ask you. And yes, I totally agree with you. The markets, GCC markets, or outbound market also, one of the largest markets in GCC is Saudi Arabia. And we are very hopeful that if it opens in January, it will make a lot of difference. From Saudi, most of the traffic is outbound in terms of tourism. But in the recent past, the business travel has dramatically increased for outbound and inbound to Saudi Arabia as well. And Saudi Arabia is also gearing up, and in the very near future, they will be also one of the leading inbound tourism destinations. So we all are awaiting to see that. Yes, if Saudi opens as well, then Saudi is in terms of revenue for UAE in tourism, Saudi is the #1 market. In terms of numbers, of course, India and UK and now China and some other markets are on the top. So we're just waiting to see that opening as well. So thank you very much, Khaled, once again. Shibon, right now, are you doing any marketing activities? And if I may ask, what marketing activity has Tourism Ireland been doing in 2020 to keep the island of Ireland in front of minds as a holiday destination, and be ready when the travel returns?
We've been really active. I mean, like most tourism boards, I suppose we've been doing lots of webinars and training. We actually had a webinar with TravelTalk on the 18th of November, and we have another one coming up on the 7th of December, just talking about the island in general with some of our key Irish industry. we did iftars, and we sent some of our key travel trade out Chickasaws during lockdown. We've had a Fill Your Heart with Ireland digital campaign that we've had running in all of our markets, just trying to keep Ireland at the forefront of people's minds. Earlier this month, we had an actual live event, as you said. Dubai, thankfully, is open. So with some of our other EU NTO partners, the Swiss Tourism Board, the German Tourism Board, the Austrian Tourism Board, and the Spanish Tourism Board, we had a live event where we invited some key travel trade to a venue in Dubai, obviously with social distancing guidelines in place, and just we're fortunate enough to be able to meet face to face, which was amazing. We're also going to have Kickstarter campaigns in Q1 with a tactical message to book for later in 2021. And very exciting, we have a new Ireland.com website coming on stream as well. And we're also hoping to have a Tourism Ireland Christmas lunch for some of our key travel trade as well. So we've lots going on. So we're always trying to stay front of mind and keep in touch with our key partners and with the industry in Ireland, so that people definitely consider Ireland when they're booking their travel. So yeah, we've been really active, Nasser.
Well, I agree with you, because I have been bombarded with the information, and I'm a witness to that. Thank you so much, Siobhan, again. So my last question to you is, once the world opens, how would you scale Ireland as a safest destination, or a destination where people should confidently travel? How would you rate, from between 1 to 10? Where does Ireland stand?
I'm always going to say 10, aren't I? But it's I would think it's as safe as a destination can possibly get. Our government actually very recently injected 226 million dirhams into tourism and into helping our island of Ireland industry suppliers, so that they are ready for travelers when the time is right. They have all of the safety precautions put in place. We actually have some videos to showcase this on our trade website. It's trade.ireland.com if people want to look at it. But we've really put a lot of time and effort into ensuring that we're totally ready for people when they can travel again. So I think Ireland is an extremely safe destination. As I've said numerous times, it's not congested. It's full of wide open spaces, fresh air, and I think that people will naturally make you feel safe and comfortable when you come to Ireland. It's just part of the whole experience when you travel. So we're just really looking forward to being able to welcome people back. So yeah, exciting. We're excited, and we're looking forward to welcoming everyone back to the island of Ireland in the near future.
Thank you so much. Khalid, I just wanted to say that what you mentioned just a while ago about the precautions that and the safety measures that Four Seasons have taken in order to welcome your guests. This is a message that we need to keep conveying to the people. And I totally agree with you, Khalid, that people will be looking at brand names. People will be looking at trustworthy properties, and I strongly believe that Four Seasons is one of the best hotels around the world. And I do believe that the precautions and measures you have taken, this will attract more and more passengers. And health and safety is a priority of everybody. And definitely people will like to choose those destinations and hotels where they will feel more comfortable and safe. Thank you, Khalid, again. So Nina, just we are ran out of time. However, I just have one question for Nina. Nina, from a corporate point of view, once again, what would you expect more or less or new or different from the travel agents who are serving you, taking care of the travel needs of your company, of your employees, of your colleagues? Same thing, what would you expect from the hotels? What new or what more they should do to make things easier and bring confidence? And for you to choose which airline, which hotel, which travel agent will be suitable for you. One of the things that I would like to add is the travel insurance, for example. In certain parts of the world, travel insurance is mandatory. However, I can see that travel insurance will become mandatory to buy within GCC as well, and this will bring a lot of confidence to the travelers. So, besides that, Nina, what would you expect from a travel agent or an airline or a hotel?
So, like you mentioned, so as a corporate where business travel is concerned, we anyway have a group business travel insurance always in place. But besides that, say for example, the hotels, I would encourage people, and it's more the perception of people going in that yes, Four Seasons, for example, has taken XYZ precautions, and it seems that, I mean, small things like the stewards and the serving staff are wearing gloves, are wearing masks, are, sanitizing the area. It looks clean. It is being disinfected after every client or guest has actually stayed in a particular room. All those little things makes a lot of difference. I've seen a lot of people in the corporate around DIFC, for example, going into restaurants, but they're choosing the restaurants they're actually going into, when they actually see, or word of mouth, yes, this place is being a little more safety and health conscious, rather than that place, which, though it might be slightly cheaper, but is it really worth taking the risk? With regard to travel agency, I would basically think that as a travel agency, earlier it was, okay, ticket, this is your ticket, this is, your itinerary and things like that. But now probably a little more information from the agents, giving complete general information, because information is changing on a daily basis. So giving out the information of what are the restrictions in this place, what are the policies and procedures you need to follow, what are the processes you need to follow, what tests you need to have, what forms you need to have, what is the what one should expect in a destination that you're traveling to. A little more information with every travel, that would definitely be a positive.
Thank you, Nina. I totally agree with you. Yes, it's our job as travel agents, as hoteliers and airlines. We must make sure to meet the requirements of a corporate and even individual travelers. And you should be always updated, and we must keep you guys posted. So when you make plan, what are the requirements, whether you should finalize an itinerary, travel or not, depending on the available information. And yes, the information that we receive, and we all see that it keeps fluctuating probably on a daily basis. But all I say is we are definitely heading towards a positive year ahead of us, and even the years ahead of us. Things we are getting used to, people are getting used to. We haven't got the vaccine yet in hand, but people have experienced and learned how to tackle and manage and live with this pandemic, or live with COVID, and how to defeat it. I think people have learned a lot. All we believe is that together, if we all follow the precautions and instructions by the authorities, and be careful with how we move around, I believe that we can manage, and we can start traveling at full strength very soon. till date, there is hardly any evidence or any considerable evidence that people got COVID because they were on a flight. Very, very negligible evidence. So flying actually is not a real threat, to be honest. Hotels have learned and taken maximum care. Of course, we mentioned the names of the hotels, the brand names. So I believe slowly and gradually, when the confidence comes back, we'll get back on track. And as Khalid mentioned, IATA has stated about 45%. It's a very positive number, but I believe personally, in many cases, inshallah, from within UAE and within GCC, it will be more than 45%. This is what we are hoping for. So this brings our session to the end, and I would like to thank Ms. Nina Gupte, Khalid Al-Idrisi, Shiban. You have contributed a valuable information, and I'm sure this message will be conveyed to our listeners, and it will be beneficial for everybody. At the end, also, I would like to thank Mr. Sanjeet and his team, Shihara, Devika, and the rest of the team members for arranging this webinar and arranging hosting the Gulf Travel Show and giving us the opportunity to share our thoughts. Thank you so much, and I know this will be shared with a very large audience, as I know that TravTalk is one of the most active travel magazine. I wake up every morning with the news from TravTalk, and it's an update, and it's a very valid update. And thank you once again, TravTalk and team, because you keep the travel industry connected. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much once again, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you again. Bye-bye.